Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today, and welcome to today's upload. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into today's upload, shall we? A person who actually just kind of found out about the channel through a subscriber who has been subscribed to the channel for 4 years now. And this person that subscribed to the channel is actually pretty well known in the comment section. They're from Kentucky, and the person that they referred the channel to is also, or was also, from the Kentucky area. And after I read the initial first paragraph, I was like, yeah, I got to talk to this person. I cannot wait until tomorrow or the next day or the next day. I've got to figure out what is going on. Because the way it was written really made it almost like it was imperative and immediate. And that just kind of opened my eyes a little wider. So when I ended up contacting this person, she had stated that she has known about these creatures for quite some time now, and she is a physician's assistant, or was. She has since retired, but she was working in Kentucky in a very small, remote hospital, and she never thought that she would see anything like this in her entire life. She was working at Morgan County Appalachian Regional Healthcare Hospital, which is just this tiny, tiny little hospital, kind of hidden in the nooks of the Kentucky mountains. I guess for being a small hospital, it's a rather well-known hospital in the surrounding counties. Wolf, Rowan. So she had been working in this facility for about a year and a half. She's not originally from Kentucky. She's originally from Massachusetts. And when she got her degree and became a physician's assistant, she wanted to help the less fortunate, wanted to help with people who had or were dealing with addiction and mental health issues resulting because of addiction. So that's where she found herself. So in the fall of 1992, she had been on call working, and it was a rather busy day, as she remembers. We're talking now, what, 30-something years ago, 31 years ago. It was a rather busy day, and she had just got done checking on a patient who had been complaining about abdominal pains. She distinctly remembers exactly what case she was working on prior to this all happening. At around mid-afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock p.m., 2 men walked into the hospital, the ER, and requested to see a doctor. Now, being a PA, she's not a doctor, but she's just as skilled, less college. So she is paged and comes down to the nurse's station, and these 2 men are standing there, wearing kind of drab olive colored pants, white t-shirts, very, very in shape men. One was in his early 30s, it appeared. The other was probably mid 50s. The younger man had no facial hair, clean shaven, looked the part of military alphabet agency bit. The other guy, a little huskier than the younger fellow, and had a beard, graying hair. And so she approaches and says, how can I help you? The gentleman with the beard presents their agency's credentials, and it was a 3-lettered alphabet agency. This is who we are. He had a very, very deep southern drawl to him. Not a Kentucky drawl. She could tell that. She said it was very, very southern, and it really had a twang to it. The other guy sounded more or less like he was from the western part of the country. Both pretty well spoken. They inform her that per the agency's policies and this and that they need assistance. They have 2 men that are hurt, and they need a doctor to go out with them with the right medical supplies for the kinds of wounds they are going to share with her. But they said, we need to talk in private with the doctor that is going to accompany us. Is it you, or do we need to speak to someone else? Let us know immediately. If there is an issue, we will call our supervisors out of Virginia, and they will tell you what's going on and how to, that you will follow our directions. She's kind of leery of what is going on, even though she did see these guys' credentials, and she goes to talk to the chief of medicine of that hospital that day, whoever was in charge, and let them know what was going on. She informed them that that's their protocol. But, you know, I'm a PA. There's certain procedures and protocol that we have to follow as well. She goes and finds the doctor that is on for the day, the one in charge of the day, and both her and this doctor accompany these two men into a private room. And at that point, they proceed to go over the identification with this doctor, and they end up calling Virginia. Whoever was on the other line introduced himself to us and proceeded to tell us who he was. That his men produced their credentials, and that's all they need to know. They are to follow protocol and procedure because they need assistance, and if they don't, there will be some issues. So at this point, the medical director and this woman, the PA, have now been kind of backed into a corner. He agrees, but lets them know that, you know, she's going to be the one accompanying them. They have 3 doctors on for the day. They are understaffed right now. They do service 4 or 5 counties, but he is quite confident that she is competent enough to do anything that they need done. And if there needs to be any kind of any more procedure that she can't do in the field, that they can come back to the hospital with their men and bring them in. They're then told that they will be going to Red River Gorge National Park. It's a Red River Gorge Geological Area National Park in Kentucky. They have 2 men down. One has it's very deep lacerations and puncture wounds. Another has more severe lacerations and puncture wounds. They are going to have to, whoever does accompany them will be or will have to sign an NDA. And the chief of medicine at that point says, you know, this is something that we have never done. This is something that I have never heard of in all of my years of being a doctor. You know, let me see your credentials again. I'm feeling very uncomfortable, even though we called this person. Let me see, you know, he's getting very leery of things. The younger soldier, I guess we'll call him, had kind of gone out of the room, and about 10 minutes later, 2 police officers came in and verified with the doctor that, hey, we just got a call from someone out of Virginia. These people are who they say they are. And other than that, we've got no say. We can't force you to do anything, but, we just got a call. That's all we're saying. That's all we know. Do you want us to accompany whoever you send to make sure? The older gentleman shuts that down very quickly. Kind of really authoritatively says, you don't have the authority to even tell me that you're coming with us. And if you do, chances are you won't make it out there because we will, you will be under federal arrest, this and that. You won't make it out of your town. We will, arrest you, and you will be charged with whatever obstruction or whatever. They leave not very happy, and about 45 minutes later, after this woman and a nurse put together a kind of emergency kit for everything that has been explained, the wounds and such, deep lacerations, puncture wounds, a large animal attack. So she's thinking bear. They proceed to drive out to Red River Gorge geological area. They take the one road in, and it leads them to an area. She will never forget the locations. Brings them to this area called Chimney Top Rock. And there's an area called Hanson's Point. Between Hanson's Point and an area called Pincham, there's a clearing. Not a big clearing, but a clearing. And that's where they end up going. Now, the drive was about 45 minutes of dead silence. No music, no talking. She asked, what am I going to see? What can you guys give me the heads up? I understand I have to sign an NDA, but what am I walking into? How bad are these men? What attacked these men? You said large animal attack. Are we talking bear? Are we talking mountain lion? What are we looking at? You will find out when you're on scene. That's all that's said. They get to the scene after 40 plus minutes, and as they walk into the woods, they had to hike about 15-20 minutes in. They get to a clearing, and she can smell copper. Very fresh copper. She can smell a urine scent and like a real bad, almost animal feces scent as well. So a very coppery urine feces stench. She gets inside the clearing, and what she sees is 5 other men, all kind of almost clearing up the clearing. They were all very busy. She could see one man lying. Even though these guys were 3-letter agencies, they were all dressed like soldiers. They all acted like soldiers. So she sees one of the soldiers. That's what we'll refer to them as, soldiers, because that's how she referred to them as. Agents, we'll just say. She sees one of the men lying. He's very badly hurt. They have some bandages on him. One of the guys is keeping pressure on some bandages on his chest. She only observes this one guy, and she says, you know, you said there were 2 men hurt. Where's the other agent? And the younger of the 2 agents that were at the hospital walks kind of away and starts talking to 2 of the other guys. The man in charge, the larger of the guy with in his 50s, large beard, says, what you are going to see now is confidential. This is what you will be signing an NDA for. And if you do not follow the rules of that NDA, we will make you look crazy. We will imprison you. And you will lose your medical license, and you will be nothing after we are done with you. It's imperative that you know this, and to let you know that you are safe. Her face, she said, my jaw dropped because I'm like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? They walk into the woods a little ways, and what she sees is this huge, hairy creature that's lying on its side against a tree, propped up. It's bleeding profusely. She looks over at the agent in charge. She looks back, and as she's panning to look back at this creature, she sees a smaller creature, but still larger than any of the men that are out there, lying on the ground, not moving, no kind of appearance of life. And she then says, what the hell is going on? She elevates her voice, and she hears this very deep growl from this thing lying on the tree, lying propped up against the tree. He said, ma'am, this is a weapon that we have harnessed. You are one of the very few civilians that know about this. But like I said, if it ever comes out, you will be SOL. You know, you're not going to like the consequences, and we've already informed you. You will do this job. You are safe. Rest assured you are safe. But we need you to tend to his wounds. Specifically, she remembers exactly the man saying you will attend to his, as if it is a human. But it's not. She looks at the creature, and estimated about almost 8 feet in height from what she can gather. It has human-like hands with clawed tips. Not long, not short, medium length, maybe 1.5 inches long. Very hard looking, something she has never seen before. It has human feet. It does not have a tail. And it has a very humanish yet animal-like face. And she is scared to death. She says, "I'm not a veterinarian. I don't know what you want me to do." And the agent says, they're designed very similar to human beings. You need to get the blood, the wounds, stop bleeding. We can field cauterize it. We can do whatever you need us to do, but we need help. We cannot. This is beyond, we have medical training, but we don't have this medical training. She said, "Okay, where's the blood coming from?" And he walks over to the creature and kind of says, "Lie on your front. Lie on your front." And it does. It doesn't respond. It just does. And she sees that from a little below its shoulder blades to almost the back of its head is torn open. Bite marks, claw marks, just almost as if something was, jumped on its back and just went to town. As she's looking and kind of figuring out what she's looking at, she's periodically looking over at the other thing lying in the woods, because she's like, "Is this the same thing? Is that the..." She hasn't said anything to the agent about this at this point. She's staring and looking and tending to the wounds and looking over at the creature. She figures out, okay, this is how we're going to do it. Obviously, he said, "We cannot bring it to your hospital. We can bring our man if he needs to go, but he's the least of our concern right now. We've got his wounds to stop bleeding, but we're going to need you to field dress it and look at everything here as well for him. We will bring you back to your hospital, but we are going a separate way after." She's looking at the wounds, looking at the creature that's lying in the woods, and she's now seeing the big differences in these two creatures. The other one, plain out, looks like a massive wolf. Its back legs look longer. It is lying in a way that it would look to be bipedal or quadruped. It did have a tail. It did have dog-like paws on its feet, but it had what resembled human-like hands with longer claws and a longer snout, and it was a lighter brown with hints of red in it. And she didn't know if that was from the blood or if it was the color of the fur. So she starts to clean this creature's wounds. She's cleaning it with saline. She's realized, okay, this is, he's got about 5 or 6 really bad, deep wounds, lacerations. There's not much I can do about the puncture wounds. We're just going to have to pack those and wrap them. I can get them for mobile I can get this creature ready for your mobile transport, but other than that, I can't do much more. I'm not in a hospital, and I've never done anything like this in my entire life. I've never even attempted to work on a human with wounds like this. So what she did was she packed the puncture wounds, waited to wrap them up until she was going to suture the lacerations, very deep lacerations. Obviously, she's now figured out that this creature had been fighting that creature over there that was dead. She starts to pull out more medical supplies, and she has a medical staple gun, and she's scared. She's, this is going to hurt. Do I give it Novocaine? What, she's asking. And he said, no, kind of any anesthesia. This pain is, nothing to what he can withstand. He will be okay. He understands that you're here to help him. And she starts stapling the wounds up, very hesitantly at first. And she got about 4 of them done. She had 2 real large ones to go. And mind you, she keeps looking over at the other creature, and it is definitely dead. She starts working on the last 2. And as she's pulling the wounds closed, or pinching them closed to staple, she notices something that is a different color and a different something that is not of nature in this creature's wound. She starts to, pinch the wounds again, and she's looking, and she sees this kind of tracker chip or some sort of, chip. Now, back in the 90s, these things were not, common. People didn't look at these things as common things. She said it was about the size of in between a very small SD card and a larger SD card. It was very small. It was a whitish color, but obviously blood was on it. But she could see that it was a whitish metallic kind of color. She mentions this to the agent, and he says, close the wounds, stop asking questions, leave everything the way it is, just get the wounds closed so we can move for transport. So she does. In her head, she's going, what in the hell is going on? I'm with government, military agents, people of, somewhere, something she's never heard of, thought of. Her normal day is working with, patients of Appalachia, Kentucky, rural. This is a whole different ball game for her. And now she's telling him, or he's telling her, leave the shit alone, close them up, don't touch it. Don't look at it, don't touch it, close it. She does. She proceeds to wrap this creature's neck and lower shoulder area up. He then assists it to a sitting position, and she looks at this creature's face and she said, Jeff, its eyes looked so goddamn human. That's her exact words. Its eyes looked so goddamn human. Yet animal-like as well. But as I looked into its eyes, as he helped it lean back against the tree in almost a comfortable sitting position where it wouldn't be resting its wound on the tree, its eyes showed pain, but she saw appreciation in this thing's eyes, She said, I've seen it in patients, as a doctor, you see appreciation, you see pain, you see these things, these emotions in people's eyes, but this is an animal, and it was so unbelievable. That was one of the biggest things that stuck out, was this thing's eyes and its recognition of her helping him survive. She then gets up. He says kind of something to this creature. It does not respond. It does not do anything. It pretty much just, he said, we're going to check on such and such. Stay here until we can move. She walks by the Dogman that's lying in the woods. And she realizes, what she can see is, it's not, if it was alive, it wouldn't be alive for very long. She said its muzzle looked like it had been snapped. Like whatever these two creatures, when they were fighting, it must have just grabbed a hold of its muzzle and its head and tried to just break its muzzle off its face. It was, bleeding, multiple wounds. It had what appeared to be burn marks from bullet wounds. Its hair was not as thick as the creature leaning on the tree, but she could only see one kind of side of it. So it may have had, if we rolled it over, it may have been thicker or thinner there, whatever. But she could see this damage that this thing, and she saw the damage that thing did to this thing. The only difference is this guy against the tree didn't have any bullet wounds, and she's saving its life. So yeah, the Dogman doesn't look good. It's muzzle's broken, snapped. It looks like its shoulder is ripped off, or ripped open. There's just a lot of damage to it. As she's walking to go take care of the other agent or soldier, the human, two men, one being the younger guy that was in the hospital, is walking, and they have some kind of canvas looking tarp. They cover the Dogman up with that. She goes and tends to the human, who has some very deep lacerations on his lower chest, sternum, stomach area. Almost like a swipe wound. She said it looked almost like if Freddy Krueger's hand was real and it just went across somebody's stomach once. 4 kind of open wounds. She asks the guy some questions. She provides him with some pain management and proceeds to staple him up. She is then told to pick up her equipment. Whatever equipment has any kind of blood, leave here. So the staple gun, your gloves, any kind of bandages that you put in your bag of medical supplies, leave everything back. You are not to take any kind of blood, tool, anything with you. Actually, better yet, and the older guy took the bag and not ripped it off her shoulder, but pretty much put his firm grip on it and pulled it off her shoulder. She had no choice. The agent was probably 3 times as strong as her. On the way back to the hospital, they are driving. She's in the back of this Suburban, blacked out. The older agent is in the back with her. 2 men are in the front. The younger agent that was in the hospital with this guy was back at the scene, and he pulls out of his folder thing in the Suburban some paperwork, and you are to put all of your information here. Give me your license, your social security number, your address, everything. Fill everything out. All of the necessary identification for life. Give to me. Let me verify everything. After you fill this out, I will sign my part. You will sign yours. And we will bring you back to your hospital. She signs the paperwork and they pull into Morgan County Hospital. He looks at her one last time and says, "Remember what I said? I am not threatening you. I am telling you what will happen. I don't want this to happen, but I'm telling you what will happen to you if you do talk about this to even your best girlfriend." Which she found strange, because he had a demeanor of not kindness, but a firm compassion. Like, I don't want you to mess up, so don't mess up. Don't tell your friends. Don't speak about it, ever. And she didn't. She got back to the hospital. He accompanied her in. He spoke with the chief and, said, "Listen, we forgot her bag of medical supplies. That's on us. We will reimburse you for whatever you need. Here is information where to, who to contact and, where to, not send a bill, but where you'll get your money from for your services. Thank you for doing this. I apologize for, coming in and demanding, but we needed to get this done." And the chief is like, where's the guys? Are they okay? Or why didn't you come back with it? This and that. We're waiting for transport for the 2 but we'll be okay. The agents leave and she is kind of stuck there. The chief of medicine asks her, hey, what the hell happened out there? And she told him, I, just like he said to you, whoever goes is going to have to sign an NDA. I'm scared. I cannot, tell you what happened. If you want to fire me, but I cannot tell you what happened. And they kind of left it alone. 15, 17, 18 years go by, and she meets the woman that's a subscriber of the channel at a Bigfoot convention. That was being held in Tennessee. And that's how she became aware of my channel. When I said, "Oh, you were at a Bigfoot connection," and she said, yeah, after I retired, I wanted to know more about these things. I wanted to know more about what was going on. And I figured, hey, no better place than a Bigfoot convention. She ended up meeting this woman that's a subscriber of the channel, and they hit it off. And she introduced her to the channel. Years have gone by since this incident had happened, and she told her friend about what happened. And her friend said, hey, that's pretty crazy, because I've heard of the government using these creatures in a couple of different places, online, in books, this and that. But check out, these couple of channels and listen to them. But what you're saying is real familiar to me, especially when she told her about the tracking chip in its neck region, right above its shoulder blades and kind of in the nape of its neck. It had this kind of tracker, this chip. And she, of years, things that have bothered her about it would be obviously signing the non-disclosure, but how everybody was so nonchalant when they were in that area, all the agent/soldiers were paying attention to their duty, not these things that were in there. And obviously she knows now that these things, the United States government has harnessed these large werewolf-like creatures. And there was a large fight that ensued in Kentucky's Red River Gorge back in 1992. Unbelievable. She said that for the longest time she was like, why the hell did they take the medical supplies? She had asked the chief months later, 6-7 months later, about, did we ever end up billing, sending a bill to whoever. And yeah, they did. And the finances came back from a 3-letter agency. One of those real negative. So just wild Wild, 1992. Absolutely friggin' wild. And there you have it, folks. I do hope you all enjoyed today's upload as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. And I'd like to thank you all for supporting this channel. It is, after all, your support that keeps the channel growing and going, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect we deserve. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.